They separate us from our neighbors and they call it social distancing. It's actually a bigger plan, it's called social conditioning. They took away our privacy, there's always someone listening. They're rigging the elections, planning riots for the citizens. The government has always lied, it's history repeating. But the problem is the schools dumb you down so you believe them. If you try to speak the truth inside a tweet, then they delete it. Whole administration Satanists who claim they praise in Jesus. Every year there's a new name for enemies that we're facing. It's Al-Qaeda, then ISIS, and now American patriots. Who would have thought those who love the country the most would be hated on by folks who call America home? Both political parties are equally just as evil. They've been working for themselves, don't give a damn about the people. Black, white, yellow, brown, humanity needs you. Cause united we stand, divided they will defeat you. The man on the news says the problem is me. I'm just a small town boy with big American dreams.
Good morning. I am Anatolian Angelisova, and this is Patriots Must Rise. There's a lot going on, so let's talk about it. So, why is it that throughout history, every culture that has went toward the liberal side has always failed? There are a number of reasons, but I want to touch on the main ones. Rome, the biggest contribution to their fall happened to be the welfare system, where they had more debt going out than they actually had production going in. That sounds familiar, right? Then you have the ideologies that always go really screwy when you end up taking out the faith traditions of the culture and replacing them with government ideologies. We see that with wokeism and this homosexual acceptance with no thought of any future for our society. It just seems to be whatever looks good or whatever feels good at the time. But nobody's actually looking 2 decades in the future and seeing that if everybody's leaning toward homosexuality, you're going to have a declining population. You have a declining population, you don't have a tax base, and the welfare system that is sustaining everybody dies. So we're seeing a lot of the parallels happening in our culture right now. Now, I do want to talk about one social democracy that actually has historically worked, and that was that of the Bohemian Pirates from 1614 to 1730, I believe. Started out with this subculture of merchant marines that didn't actually bear any allegiance to any crown. They were mercenaries. They worked for the highest bidder. Eventually, war broke out. They would sell their services as naval vessels to whatever king would pay them the most. And these would be known as privateers. The privateers would then turn away back toward their very nature, and turn their back on the crown because they didn't like to be told what to do. And eventually they would go rogue again. This very nature made it very clear that democracy in the form that we know of would have never worked. Yet they were a society of their own. Um, in the Bohemian Islands, they actually had kind of a pirate kingdom going on, where they elected a pirate king. Each captain was elected according to what the crew wanted, and it seemed to work. As a matter of fact, I believe it would still work today if they were allowed to survive, but eventually they were hunted down by the French, the English, the Swiss, and the whole culture of the Bohemian pirates that I'm talking about right now basically died off. I'm not saying that pirating died off at all. There is definitely modern pirates sailing the seas as I speak, but these guys are basically terrorists. They raid the ships, sometimes kill everybody. Don't worry about even what they're going to find on the ship. They're basically Antifa. But during the 1700s, the Bohemian pirates were actually had a very tight-knit society where people would cross them, even if you're fighting amongst yourselves. Your code of honor would put your services in the aid of your brother. The reason it worked was, unlike our society today, where we let criminals get away, the DAs don't even prosecute. If you tried anything against your brother, the consequences were very strict. As a matter of fact, you probably wouldn't live through it, especially if you were considered one of their own pirates. Yeah. So they had a very strict justice system, and they stuck to it. As a result, it worked. It was clean cut, very, very efficient, and basically what America was founded on.
The one take that I think everybody should pull away from the Bohemian Pirates was that the reason socialism worked within their society was that there was only one punishment. Mm-hmm. There was no prisons. There weren't any wotard snowflakes crying about how inhumane it was when you put somebody in the stocks. No, they hung the perpetrator. They castrated them. They gutted them publicly, and among them, it was reasonably peaceful. Okay, we need to actually get these freaking idiot prosecutors that were installed by George Soros and these other woketards to wake up and realize that they were elected for the sole purpose of justice. And if you're not going to actually do your job, we will do it for you. And then we'll be coming after you, because you are in fact stealing from the taxpayer for your own benefit, and you probably should not be allowed to continue. Now, whether or not we kill you, whether or not we actually send you through the system that nobody believes in anymore, or whether or not we just drag you down the street by the neck, chained to a freaking semi as we enter the freeway, and you become nothing but dog food, that is really up to us. You might want to think about that. Now to
Warrior societies. Anyway.
Exactly. Yeah, we need more freaking actual warriors in this society. Now to speak out to the freaking Pride Month that we recently had. It floored me that parades in New York would actually be going down the street naked, saying we're here, we're queer, we're coming for your children. Or the it was also in New York.
Was it?
Yeah.
I know it was in our freaking state.
Yes, it was in Seattle, and it was probably in LA too. And the reality is that they felt safe doing that. They felt safe actually threatening our kids. That's on you guys. That's on you guys for not making it so hostile for their environment that they are not terrified to wake up in the morning knowing that they're pedophiles. We don't need courts in this country. We need justice. If that means drawing out a freaking bone saw and cutting these people up and putting them in a vat of acid, why is it wrong? Okay? They want acceptance? Let God sort them out. It's time to actually rise up. We don't need to let these people be tolerated. We don't need these people to be accepted. We need these people to be gone. It is not our place to be tolerant. It is not our place to judge either. It is our place to protect our families. And I'm sorry, but if you have officials threatening to take your kids because you're not supporting their culturally contaminated sexual identity, you need to find that official and possibly hang them from a tree. This is the reality, guys. It is time to actually start rebelling. You're Americans. Okay? We were born to rebel. These freaking pansy-ass pieces of shit that actually took over our military, turned it faggot, and decided to disarm our soldiers, making us vulnerable to attack by going completely eco-friendly, so we don't have a stable power grid.
Yeah.
We need to start fighting back. There is no scientific backing for this global warming bullshit. There never has been. There's definitely no scientific backing for men having children, or gender reassignment.
That's coming out as being a problem.
So why in the hell is it that we're accepting it? Why are we not actually We've been. Well, that's what I have for today. I guess I went on a bit of a rant, and my wife is like, tone it down or I'll be like monetized. No, I'm not really monetized yet. Anyway, and to be honest, I think that this is the way it's got to be said because of the fact that people were actually marching down the street naked and saying we're here, we're queer, we're coming for our kids, and they're trying to be protected by the statement it was a joke, but at the same time it was already happening.
Yeah.
The indoctrination and sexualization of our kids was already happening in the schools when they decided to go down in the street naked saying we're here, we're queer, we're coming for your children. So they're don't be mad at us, it was just a joke thing, falls on deaf ears. Because anybody with half a brain that actually cares about their kids should and is justifiably pissed off. If you have the ear of any elected official, just maybe you need to actually explain this to these officials, because this country is on the brink of war. I've designed and built several weapons for Ukraine already. It would be nothing to utilize the same designs for killing Democrats. I mean, I've been dreaming about that. Well, that's what I have for today. I guess I went on a bit of a rant, and my wife is like, tone it down or I'll be like monetized. No, I'm not really monetized yet. Anyway, and to be honest, I think that this is the way it's got to be said because of the fact that people were actually marching down the street naked and saying we're here, we're queer, we're coming for our kids, and they're trying to be protected by the statement it was a joke, but at the same time it was already happening.
Yeah.
The indoctrination and sexualization of our kids was already happening in the schools when they decided to go down in the street naked saying we're here, we're queer, we're coming for your children. So they're don't be mad at us, it was just a joke thing, falls on deaf ears. Because anybody with half a brain that actually cares about their kids should and is justifiably pissed off. If you have the ear of any elected official, just maybe you need to actually explain this to these officials, because this country is on the brink of war. I've designed and built several weapons for Ukraine already. It would be nothing to utilize the same designs for killing Democrats. I mean, I've been dreaming about that.
My people of this country and we're under attack. They banning us, they cancel us for speaking the facts. If you man enough, come stand with us, take USA back.